All right, fam, what's popping? What's going on? Welcome on in the stream. Big ups to the fam. Appreciate y'all being in the stream. It's Saturday morning, man. I hope I ain't wake y'all up. I hope y'all had a restful rest over the night, but it's time to get your ass up, man. It's Saturday morning. It's time to get your ass up. You need to get out there and cut that grass. All right, so let's see what else we got to do. You got to cut the grass. You got to make groceries. You got to wash them clothes. You got to fold them clothes. Let's see what else we got to do. Oh, yeah, you got to cook. Don't forget you got to cook. So if you're cooking red beans, you should have put them on last night to make sure they were soaking so that later on the day you can get them on there and make them do what it do. You got to make sure you done seasoned the chicken. Make sure you done put it in the refrigerator and did whatever you need to do before you got it done. Prep work. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how it go for responsible adults out there. You know what time it is. Wake your ass up. It is Sunday morning. Shout out to the fam, man. Good morning to y'all. Good to see y'all in the stream, man. Y'all know that's right. You got to wash the car. Get your ass up and go out there and wash that car. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you get them clothes out the back of the car too. And I know some people out there, you know what I'm saying? They go the whole week or so and they just be throwing stuff. Nah, man, you can't get your ass out there and get that together. You know what's going on there. All right, shout out to the fam, man. And while y'all doing all that, put the TSC Unleashed on and listen to it while you do all that stuff. Anyway, shout out to the fam, man. Hope y'all had a good restful night, man. Good early in the morning to the fam as we get up in this thing. Tried to say I'm at the dealership getting my oil changed. See, is a responsible adult right there. All right, so there it is. That's right. You got to clean the house. That's right. What's up, Kathleen? Good to see you, Queen. Shout out to Tara. What's up, Mama? How you doing? Shout out to my queens out there. Big ups to you, Ant-Man and the rest of the fam. Swag, T-Scott. T-Scott, you know what time it is, bro. Bro, you got to get up, bro, and get it together, man. You know, you sitting there sleeping and stuff running down the side of your face, man. You wake up. Ding, notification. All right, man, shout out to the fam, man. In the TSC Unleashed, I'm kind of bringing it back early Saturday mornings, man. I kind of beta tested it about a year ago with tremendous success. So we're going to roll it back again. And 3 stories I'm going to try to touch on in this episode, and we'll be out of here by, I said about 10:15. The magazine will probably be maybe anything less than an hour and a half, somewhere around an hour. I won't go too long. But in this episode, we're going to talk about 3 stories. Going to try to get into 3 stories, and those 3 stories are the Celtics head coach, I guess on leave, you want to call it, Udoka. and his little dealings that he got going on with his hot self running around. We're going to talk about that. And also we're going to add to the layer of Nia Long. She spoke about it. And Nia Long, for those who don't know, Nia Long is I thought he was married to Nia Long, who's a fantastic actress that been in, I don't know how many films that you can think about. She's been in some really good ones, from Friday all the way on to, you know, a bunch of really good work from Nia Long. I love Nia Long. I think she's terrific. And Emi Udoka, I thought he was married to her. They just engaged, long time engaged. Yeah, dude tripping. Anyway, we're going to talk about that. We're going to go over the Herm Edwards situation. I've never seen nothing like the Herm Edwards situation. We're going to go over where he had assistants on the team conspiring and giving his data and his playbook to the opposing team. So I mean, that is, you want to talk about some dirty, rotten dogs right there. I mean, yeah, that we're going to talk about that. And of course, on the back end, we'll talk about the Brett Favre situation that occurred this past week, where Favre is connected to what could be a $70 million scam, welfare scam. So we'll cover that stuff as well in this episode of TSC Unleashed. Shout out to the fam. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the share button, share with the family members. Let them know that we up early, up in this thing. And also, family, also feel free to hit the link that's in the chat. That takes you to the TSC Unleashed page. We're trying to build that page up so I can be going full ham on that page. I'm gonna wait till I get a certain amount of subscribership before I go ham on the TSC Unleashed page. And that's where the TSC Unleashed shows will be at. It's at the TSC Unleashed channel itself. So the link is in the chat. Hit that link, go there and sub, and do your boy that service. All right, who that to the fam, Country Rail. Big ups to my fam, brother Revolt in the game, all the family members in this thing. All right, thank you. Smile for Fitness, thank you for being here. Jesse Jackson, keep hope alive. Shout out to your fam, appreciate you as well. And that's what's up. Okay, thank you. Smile for Fitness says, be listening to Q while I'm working out. There you go. See, working out, you got to get the run on. You see, you got to hit the trail. You got all this stuff going on. See, most of the time through the week, people, they be working, and then Saturday and Sunday, they kind of kick back in that thing. So sometimes we don't have all that to do. So we kind of save some of them chores for the weekend. So you got all that to do. You try to fit it on in there. Boy, it never stop, does it? It don't stop. All right, anyway, fam, let's get to some of this stuff right here. We're going to cover it right here. And the Udoka thing is really something else, man. The dude had a phenomenal season last year with the Boston Celtics, man. But I'm telling you, man, people just can't keep their damn grimy paws where they belong, man. Good grief. And the kind of stuff I was reading about with dealing with him, and even his long-term fiance, who I thought he was actually married to Nia Long, man. And he was just, I guess, stringing along. I don't know, you know, but she was upset and heard about it. Very sad story. But let's get on up into this thing, man. We're going to start off with it, and we're going to talk about it. And this one's coming from the Yahoo Sports. Is saying shrouded in Udoka suspension is mystery that's unsustainable. Now, anyway, the short and long hairs of it is that there was reports of alleged improper, intimate, and consensual relationship with a female member of the staff and accusations of unwanted comments toward her. So you got that kind of sounds a bit harassing, you know, harassing-y. You know what I'm saying? You know, to say, you know, if you making that wanted advances toward female staff and you the head coach of the team, man, you tripping. You know what I'm saying? And of course, they said this was something that was happening long term. So, man, wow. But anyway, they say Grossback, who's the owner, cited privacy reasons for the people involved, because a lot of what was going on is people started throwing out the women that was in the organization, their names out there. Like, this woman was responsible with Emi Udoka, and they were wrong. You know, there was one lady and they talking about her, but they was trying to protect her identity. They're saying that he was making unwanted advances toward her, which would definitely kind of change the spear of how this thing looks. Now, Grossback said that privacy reasons for the people involved is a reason for neither confirming those reports nor elaborating on any substantive facts surrounding what they describe as Udoka's multiple violations of team policy, which means Emi Udoka, what I call Jimmy Udoka, was doing some very foul stuff dealing with these people. And Udoka put the Celtics in an impossible situation. They levied the suspension and one they're leaving open-minded, by the way, but they can't adequately explain why he's being suspended. So this cloud, I'm pretty sure most of this stuff will come out in the age of information where you got insiders that pay for information. This will eventually come out. Maybe not now, but I'm telling you, it's going to eventually come out because they can't stop it. And we'll get to the bottom of exactly what's going on. But Jimmy Udoka running around this thing doing stuff he ain't got no business doing. And he got caught up there like you're supposed to get caught out there. All right, he says Udoka put the Celtics in an impossible situation. You cannot hit the pause button on a championship favorite and expect to pick up where you left off. So Joe Mazzulla tapped to lead the Celtics as an interim coach. So you already got the interim coach that'll step in there after the scandal. And what they gave to Jimmy Udoka was they gave him pretty much a year's suspension or ban, as they call it, away from the sports. And then ultimately they'll address the need when he, come back around. But they know Udoka's a good coach. And what they're trying to do basically is they're going to suspend him for a year. And then when all of the story calms down and everything, then they'll bring him back. Just like they did other people. Remember the lying-ass newsman that was caught lying? What's his name? Brian, whatever his name is, from NBC. And then people didn't trust him, so they just shelved him for about 2 years or so and then rolled his musty ass back out there on television. Y'all remember that? Like people was going to forget that you was lying. That's what they're going to attempt to do right here. They're going to really, if they were really was about the change that they wanted and they thought that he was doing this, you couldn't possibly bring this individual back into an organization. If he damaged them to the point where women is upset at how things was operating, he was violating on that level, and you give him a 1 year suspension and you're making it feel that bad, then why not just kick him out the door and start with somebody new and wipe your hands of it? You can't play this kind of stuff nowadays. People ain't having it. But if it depends on what level this is playing out on, because I still think that they're retaining and holding back a lot of facts of what really going on here. And eventually it'll come out. It always do. All right. So anyway, to think that these guys on the team of coaches or anybody else in the organization is going to walk back on the court and everything is fine, that's just not the way it is. It is going to be that way because you're going to shelve them for a year. And then when it boils down, or when people forget about it because something else happened, then he'll roll them back out and he'll come back up there and apologize and shed tears. And people say, well, he feels sorry. You can let him back in. Now, if he really did something wrong, which is egregious, what it sounds like, if he's out harassing and making unwanted advances toward women, he should be canned. And I know they got a no fraternization policy there, because you got to have a no fraternization policy when you have athletes and people working together, because this type of stuff will happen. It'll make the workplace very uncomfortable. So you got to get that out of there. So if he good enough to be suspended for a year, he good enough to be suspended permanently. And let's just move beyond him and find somebody else. But this is just a case of the Celtics trying to play like they down with you now, and then they're gonna stash this dude for about a year, and then when all the smoke died down, they're gonna roll his ass out with tears in his eyes, apologizing like Jimmy Swaggart did. Oh, I'm so sorry, I have sinned. And then people are gonna say, oh, he's sorry, and then they're gonna roll the sorry ass back out there. But really, the messed up part about it is what he did. What he was doing at the Celtics organization. What really the big violation is what he did to his long-term fiance, or what he did to her. To me, that's one of the biggest things that's going on here. Just disrespect all kind of ways. Celtics leadership expressed regret and anger. They're not angry enough to get rid of him though, but Twitter speculation and rampant BS that drag female members of the Celtics. Okay, you dragging for the females on the Celtic squad, but go all the way. Don't just go half the way. See, this that fake crap that they do. If you felt that bad and you that angry about it, why you still got them employed as a coach? Get them out of here. You see? So they play that game, man. They play that game with people. Anyway, it's naive to think more details will not leak. The Celtics could not even make it through the night without details of the thorough and impartial investigation that was completed Wednesday reaching the media. Yeah, I told you, people pay for information. Ain't no loyalty in that stuff. Last night, without knowing all the facts, I spoke to Udoka's defense. They got all the facts. Kendrick Perkins said he got the facts. Matt Barnes got the facts. It ain't hard for a guy to tell another guy who got the facts. And eventually, if they know, the facts going to come out. That's what I said over the next several days. You're going to know everything, baby. You're going to know it all. But he may be genuine, but how is the public supposed to trust the Celtics when they cannot even tell us whether they believe Udoka's behavior constituted sexual harassment or caused harm to employees? That's my take is, it sounds like Sexual harassment is what it sounds right when you say unwanted advances. You just word gaming here. You just word gaming to a degree, because if that is indeed the case, that sounds like sexual harassment to me, baby. And that, my friend, is a fireable offense. Unwanted advances, and that was determined by an independent investigator. That is sexual harassment, my friend. That is grounds for termination. So why are you putting them on the shelf for a year? Because they full of it. But anyway, let's move on to it. Jimmy Udoka, man, you violated. You're a chump for that. Boy, you had it rolled out, and look what you did. But look, let's go over here. Nia Long, blindsided by Udoka. Now listen what Nia's saying. Poor Nia. Let her move to Boston amid affair of invest. This guy crazy. This guy crazy. Let her move to Boston amid a fair investigation. Good grief. Blindsided the hell out of him. Nia Long says she's going to need all the support she can get after getting blindsided by her fiance, Celtics coach Jimmy Udoka, who we've learned kept her in the dark about his affair, even though the team busted him months ago, and they just leaked it now. And see, they talking about we took that long just to come up. There've been people full of it, man. Sources connected to the team and the couple tell TMZ Nia had moved to Boston with Kez, her 10-year-old son, with Emmy just 2 weeks ago, and the couple was house hunting. The sad twist for Nia is that when she moved, Emmy was already full aware of his affair with a married front office staffer who was about to blow up. We're told Emmy knew way back in July the team was aware of the affair and was launching the investigation. Meanwhile, he told Nia Long only found out about it in the last few days, and only because Emmy knew it was about to go public that he told her. What a piece of garbage. Nia tells TMZ through her rep, Shannon Barr, the outpouring of love and support from friends and family and the community during this difficult time means so much to me. I ask my privacy to be respected as I process the recent events. And above all, I am a mother and I will continue to focus on my children. And that's sad, man. Really sad. And on Thursday, the Celtics officially suspended them for the entire season. In response to Emmy Udoka, I want to apologize to, and this is what he said, I want to apologize to our players, fans, and the entire Celtics organization and my family for letting them down. I am sorry for putting the team in this difficult situation. I accept this team's decision. Out of respect for everyone involved, I will have no further comment. Yeah, you bet not. You better go sit your ass down somewhere. But see, this is cold-blooded game right here. Between them, is he moved Nia up there alone. That boy, you a piece of first grade garbage for that. You're a piece of first grade garbage for that, Jimmy. All right, so anyway, let's move on, man. Yeah, let's move on. All right, okay, let's go to this one, fam. This will trip your head out, man. This will trip your head out. Now, this is from Saturday, tradition.com. Arizona State staffer reportedly helped bring down Herm Edwards by leaking info to opponents. Have you ever heard of this, man? This is something else, fam. Have you ever in your blessed life ever heard of your own staffers that leaking information to your opponents? That means the teams that you playing against every week, leaking his playbook and what he intends to do to them to sabotage Herm Edwards to get him out the door. Have you ever heard of such a thing? I've seen a lot of football. I've heard a lot of stuff, but I never ever heard of your staff leaking parts of your playbook and game to opponents. Have you ever heard? That is some of the saddest thing you can ever imagine. Now, this is from SaturdayTradition.com. It says, how much did Arizona State want Herm Edwards out as the head coach? My goodness. Reportedly, coaches were willing to throw him under the bus for a chance to send him packing. Boy, that's low down over there. According to the report by the Athletic shared by Reddit, the Twitter account, athletic department staffers were willing to share their game plans with opposing coaches to make it seem as if Herm Edwards was in over his head, per the Athletics' Doug Hollard. Getting intel on the Sun Devils' game plan wasn't hard, as the staff had checked out Herm Edwards running the show. And they're saying, you can see right there, it's true that makes WikiLeaks look like child's play. It's crazy, man. That Edwards is 60, finished 26-20. He posted 6 top 25 wins, never lost to a rival Arizona, But his time in the desert mostly will be remembered as a failed experiment, one that fractured the fan base's confidence and caused issues within the athletic department. An opposing coach recently told the Athletic that it wasn't hard to get intel on the season's team because some within the Arizona State Athletics wanted a coaching change. The worst may yet to come. For more than a year, the NCAA has investigated recruiting violations within the football program, and Edwards and his staff are accused of hosting recruits. And as you can see, when you talk about Herm Edwards' resume, he finished 26-20, so he was winning games. So why would you go to those lengths to try to talk about getting rid of Herm Edwards? What was the problem? Well, you would think he was losing games, right? But he finished 26-20. He was, like they said, he posted 6 top 25 wins, never lost to Arizona. So what's the problem? What's the problem indeed? Following an embarrassing loss, 30-21 to Eastern Michigan on Saturday, Arizona State announced that the school was making a change in leadership by mutually agreeing to part ways with Herm. The 68-year-old finished his time in Tempe with a 26-20 overall record, never winning more than 8 games in the season. Now, Edwards likely to be remembered for this time off the field than his time on it. Over the past year, the NCAA has investigated recruiting allegations with the Sun Devils program. Edwards was accused of hosting recruits during the non-contact period, but put in place due to the C-19 situation. The results led to 5 coaches, along with several players, leaving the staff within the course of the offseason. Early names expected to be in the running for the Sun Devils opening include Auburn's coach Brian Hersen, former Texas coach Tom Herman, former TSC coach Gary Patterson, and USC defensive coordinator Alex Grinch to replace old Herm. But man, listen, that's not the part about him winning. What's really the story here is they didn't direct you away from the obvious fact that you had people in the athletic department giving Herm Edwards playbook and data about his away to people, and then talking about well, we was not winning, we lost to such and such, we had a 30-21 loss to Eastern Michigan. I wonder why they lost, with the bastard sitting up there trading this information to the people and then blaming him for losses. Boy, you talk about some slanted, dirty, underhanded, back ass dogs right here. They're gonna sit up here and talk about Herm Edwards losing games, and then in the same sentence, in the same paragraph early on in the article, they admit to the staffers giving information, playbook information, and tendencies to his opponents so he can lose. But he lost, Q. Of course he was losing if you had his own staff members sending his data over to the opponents to know what he was going to do. My goodness, man. I've never heard of anything like this, as the staffers they wanted to get rid of Herm Edwards so bad that they was leaking his playbook and his tendencies, information to his opponents. My goodness, man. My goodness. They need to fire every last one of them bastards in the athletic department on down and start all over again. For people that rotten to be somewhere inside of a university like that, and an administrator, the athletic department, they all need to go. That is terrible. And if I was a coach, like some of them coaches' name, I would not want to go there unless the athletic department was completely cleaned out and fired. All the AD, his assistant, all of them, because that's absolutely awful that you would go to those lengths to get rid of Herm Edwards and just literally, that was sabotage, fam. That's pretty much what this is. This is sabotage. Them people sabotaged Herm Edwards. They said, well, Q, he did win. Of course he didn't win if his own athletic department was leaking information to the opponents. They sabotaged Herm Edwards just to get him out the door and basically fired him on the field. Did you see that play when the guy walks up to him, the video, the guy walks up to him, he gets fired on the field. They didn't let him get, it was just amazing, man. After they begged him to go to Arizona State, then they turn around and sabotage the man. I've never seen nothing like this before, ever. This was tolerable. Y'all chime in on this, let me know. Brother Jerry, what's up? Say, I saw that, it's ridiculous, and Herm Edwards a good coach. It's a shame on their part. Yeah, have you ever known that? Could you possibly imagine Mickey Loomis sabotaging Dennis Allen or Coach Payton?
I don't like his ass. I'm gonna get him up out of here, man. I'm gonna see if I can try to find and try to see if I can get another coach to come down here. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to try to see what I can do about that. Yeah, I don't like his ass.
Could you imagine that ridiculousness? Mickey Loomis talking about,
I was talking. I took Sean Payton out to dinner. And then basically, I went to my favorite restaurant. My cousin runs the joint. And then we sit down and I order the best dish for both of us. And Coach, and Sean says that it tastes like soap water. I was insulted. I want to get his ass out of here.
Could you imagine that? Then Mickey begins to trade information to the adversaries to get the sabotage Coach Payton. And Mickey tried to get you fired. Could you believe that, man? Absolutely. That's totally stupid. And they need to fire every last one of them dogs in the athletic department, man. That's totally ridiculous, man. All right, let's move on, family. You talk about ridiculous. We go from one of the worst to one of the terrible and a sad shaking head day. One man's plea deal may lead to light on Brett Favre's possible ties to a $70 million Mississippi welfare scam. My goodness, this dude is a Hall of Fame quarterback. And listen, I know guys. When I was on the railroad, I met guys, real cool guys that came from where Brett Favre is, and they hate Brett Favre. Let me just tell you something. When I say, hold on, Keon, isn't that where Brett Favre? Who would you say? I said, don't Brett Favre, man, F that dude. And I'm like, what? Whoa. And then, and a lot of people feel that way. And a lot of people see Brett Favre as a jerk. A lot of them don't like him. And this is for real. A lot of people don't like him. And, but anyway, Brett Favre's possible ties to a $70 million welfare scam. And this is coming from Yahoo Sports. And a development that could impact Pro Football Hall of Fame. This dude is a Hall of Famer, getting a check from the Hall of Fame every damn, whenever they send them out, every month or whatever it is. You mean to sit up here and tell me that that's what you tied into? Let's walk through it. In a development that could impact Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre, a key figure in the unfolding of the Mississippi welfare misappropriation scandal, entering into a plea deal with the state and federal prosecutors Thursday. And a deal announced by United States Department of Justice. John Davis, the former director of the Mississippi Department of Human Service, entered a guilty plea Thursday for his role in a scheme that stole $70 million in welfare funds and earmarked to support the state's neediest residents. My goodness. You won't talk about low. You want to talk about low, family. Boy, I tell you, you won't talk about low. $70 million of funds earmarked for, this is Mississippi now. We know I've been all across the state of Mississippi, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Man, I've been all the way up in Money, north of Money. What's up there, man? I've been all across the state, man. Where Oprah was from, north of that going, oh my goodness. And I've seen a lot of poor people, man, especially in the country. A lot of poor people. And they got city poor people, and then there's country poor people, and you see what it looked like, man. And when you think about all that money could have benefited the poor people in the state of Mississippi, and this dog sitting up here, fat on the NFL dollar, sitting up here taking more money, it just blows my mind how rotten this whole thing is. All right, so anyway, his role in the scheme that misdirected or stole $70 million in welfare funds earmarked to support the state's neediest residents. In exchange for the plea, Davis is expected to cooperate with the investigators who are seeking additional indictments in the scam. So whatever do you mean? Davis' cooperation is believed to be key for the state and federal prosecutors who are seeking information on other possible individuals involved in the various stages of misdirecting, stealing funds. Those under investigation include multiple unnamed, for now, co-conspirators, thieves, with Davis. Favre has come under media scrutiny for nearly 8.1 million in welfare funds that were allegedly doled out to entities tied to the former NFL star. Of that sum, 1.1 million directly went to Favre for public speaking appearance that he allegedly didn't make, along with 5 million to the construction of a volleyball building at Favre's alma mater, the university. They take $5 million to build a volleyball building, don't you? Can't you convert the basketball gym? I mean, when you what the hell? The University of Southern Miss, and another $2 million to a pharmaceutical startup that Favre has been tied to as an investor. Oh my goodness. Now Favre repaid 1.1 Yeah, he gave up 1.1 of the 8 million for the uncompleted speaking engagement. He repaid that, although not the accrued interest that the prosecutor sought. And his lawyer has denied that the former NFL quarterback knew welfare funds were being tapped for any of his endeavors. With this plea agreement, Davis can answer any questions for prosecutors about Favre's level of knowledge or influence, as well as shed light on any means regarding the funds that went to entities tied to the former NFL star. Now, he claiming, I didn't know that money. Listen, I didn't know that money would belong to the welfare fund. I had no idea. I thought there was just a bunch of rich people giving me money for engagements that I knew I didn't go to. Here's that money back. But what about the rest of it, man? You sat on this money, man. Oh, that's all I got for you. You're going to have to prove to me whether or not I had did the rest of that. Really? Really, Brett? Aren't you a Hall of Fame choir? Yeah. Aren't you rich? Yeah. Yeah, but you know how it goes. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know. And that'll be his thing, that he didn't know that the guy, they would have to prove that he knew that this was this. And I guess he does, that the lawyer has it all set up where he might kind of slide up under that thing. So we'll see how it looks. And according to the DOJ announcement, Davis directed his office to provide federal funds to nonprofit organizations, then directed the two organizations to fraudulently award contracts to various entities and individuals for social service that were never provided. So pretty much what they did was they sent the money out, and then they misdirected the money to probably some fraudulent charity organizations that says we here to to help the kids, to feed the kids, to clothe the kids, or whatever. And then you send it to these organizations and they don't do nothing with it. Or if they do it, say for instance it was $2 million that bogus charity got, and then the bogus charity would take the $2 million, and then out of the $2 million they would probably siphon maybe 50,000 into these people and say, yeah, we gave some of the money to them, the rest went to operating expenses. They do that kind of stuff, and they give charities a bad name. That Bono dude from YouTube does this a lot. He'll collect millions of dollars across the world and give 1% of the money to the people and claim 99% of the money went to charity expenses. They do that. And then he gets there, oh, he's a great humanitarian or whatever. How are you a great humanitarian when you taking $100 million and only giving 1% of it to the actual cause, and then claim 99% for charity expenses? But that's all that's required of him, to give 1%. So you can take $100 million and then take that money and keep it as your own, and you don't have to claim 1% of it and give it to the people. That's how it works. As a part of the plea deal, Davis expected to reveal how the alleged fraud was established and the precise individuals who benefited. Such corporations considered a massive coup for state and federal prosecutors, who charged Davis as a central facilitator in the misappropriation scam, which means theft, stealing. Davis has been indicted on 24 charges for his role in the misappropriation of theft, and would have faced a potential of nearly 50 years. That's why he flip-flopped his ass and been convicted of on all counts. Instead, with his cooperation and plea deal to a handful of charges, expected to face only a fraction of that time behind bars in exchange for his cooperation that can implicate other figures. And I know they got their microscope fairly at Favre. Now, Davis' guilty plea is the second major agreement reached in the case by the prosecutors, following a nonprofit manager, Nancy New, who was indicted and in April pleaded guilty to 13 felonies related to the investigation. New was accused of fronting a nonprofit that was utilized as a pipeline to move welfare funds to various projects in an enterprise that state and government authorities historically describe as a welfare for well-connected plot. How about that? Welfare is like the inverse of Robin Hood, stealing from the poor, the rich to give to the poor. They were stealing from the poor to give to the rich. How about that? Welfare for well-connected. How about that? You know what that's called in the real world, family? Welfare for well-connected. You know what that's called? It's called corporate. It's called corporate subsidy. My goodness. My goodness. Welfare for well-connected. Oh my goodness, man. It just don't get no worse. Aside from Favre, prosecutors are investigating former Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant. Of course, because if you don't tell me that if they got money, $2 million or $7 or $8 million, 9, 10, or whatever it is, and they got it up to what was it up to 70 million? You don't think the mayor gonna know about that? The mayor don't know about $70 million coming into his state? Well, I had no idea. All right, so anyway, aside from Favre, prosecutors are investigating former Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant. published by reports by Mississippi Today detail alleged the text linking Bryant, Davis, New, and Favre to funds that were sought for the volleyball building project at Southern Miss. Among those materials, now this dude rich enough to build that building himself. Bryant allegedly directed Favre in how to write a funding proposal that would be approved by the Mississippi Department of Human Service. Ain't nothing wrong with that, now, right? Nothing wrong with that is the damn mayor telling you how to write the fund. Just write it like this. And then what you do is, instead of writing your E this way, you take your E and you spin it backwards. And then when you do that, when you get all the way down to the bottom, thank you, Jay Phillips, for the subscribe, bro. Appreciate you, fam. Shout out to Jay Phillips. And then what you do after that, Brett, is after you take your E, you know how you write your E regular ways? Instead of writing the E the regular way, you reverse it. And then that way we gonna know when we look at your application that you the guy we gonna pick. That's how we do it. They got all these little sneaky trips. Of course, I'm kind of exaggerating that, but the man directing him on how to get the welfare for well connected. Now, Brian, of course, he denied any, he has denied any recollection of using welfare funds inappropriate. He has no recollection of that. Oh, I just simply said, that's false. I didn't do that. I have no recollection of what you're speaking about. I have no recollection of this. Brian has denied any recollection of using welfare funds for inappropriate. Of course he would. You know why? Because if he would have said, yeah, well, actually, I do know that, his ass would be going to jail. So this is a big stinking rat nest of people stealing from the poor people, man. You got money that's earmarked, $70-something million earmarked to some of the poorest areas of Mississippi, and you got welfare for the well-connected going on, where they funneling some of the 70 million to build a volleyball building on Southern Miss campus. They can build it themselves. Really? Boy, I tell you, man. I tell you. But anyway, let's do a brief recap, family, over the articles that we covered thus far on TSC Unleashed this morning. We talked about the Jimmy Udoka situation that occurred with the Celtics. And of course, information is coming out saying that the Celtics have been doing this over several months of investigating what's coming out as alleged harassment moves that was done by Jimmy Udoka toward females inside of the Celtics, or maybe a female inside the Celtic organization. And that's why he got the axe. And then, of course, more information is going to be leaking. But he's a whole chump and a piece of garbage for how he did that, because he disrespected the top woman in his life, which is Nia Long. I thought he was married to her, but he was just stringing her along, a long-term fiance of Nia Long, and he disrespected her. He disrespected the co-workers there, and brought all of this shame upon his house and the people around him. And all he gets to do after doing all of this kind of stuff, which is, guess what? Is they won't use the term sexual harassment, but they're using the term unwanted advances. If it's unwanted advances, that means that kind of borderline and up onto sexual harassment, which is a fireable offense. But the Celtics are talking mean and tough that we rocking with the women and we down with y'all. Listen, women, listen to me. We down with the women. We with y'all. We with y'all 100%. He did wrong, baby. Baby, he was wrong. And then they suspend him for a year. Don't fire him. They don't fire him now. They just suspend him for a year. And they suspend him for the year so that when you forget and when the smoke died down, they roll his sorry ass back out here next year. That ain't being down with the women, bro. That these people are fake. If he did the crime, he do the time. If he was doing that, that's an fireable offense. You get his ass up out of there. That'll set the trend. Like, listen, we're not playing games. You could be the head coach, general manager. If you're doing this type of stuff, you are up out of here. And that's what should have been done here. Not sending them back for 1 year. And while the smoke died down, and then you recycle his sorry ass back to the team for next season after you forgot, because something else gonna go on. That's all it says. It's a game. And of course, Nia Long is asking people for support and prayers, and man, and all of this is he moved her out there to Boston with all this going on. You do not understand how embarrassing that is. This woman moved from her home to be with this asshole, and then he out here running around messing with other women. I mean, good Lord, man. Good Lord. And just blind, and this embarrassment, because she know all her laundry is out there. She don't know what's going on. All her stuff is out there. And she like, man, I trusted this dude. I love this dude. And this dude turn around and do this to me and bring all this shame down on me and my family. Man, come on, man. Come on with it, man. Come on with it, man. That's foul, man. Jimmy Udoka should have been fired, man, for what he did. If he was doing sexual harassment on the job, that's a fireable offense. Get your ass up out of here. All right, so let's move on to the next story. We talked about Arizona State staff, and this is probably out of, we talk about the Jimmy Udoka, and then we talked about the Brett. These are some sorry ass stories on Saturday. You know what? I'm sorry, family. Big ups to y'all, man. Let me just say this. I'm very sorry, family, that I woke y'all up this morning. If I woke y'all up or I bothered you with these 3 sorry ass stories. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, baby, please, baby, please. Listen, let me tell you something. I'm sorry for, I didn't expect it to line these up like this. This was just some of the stories that happened this past week that, you know, that I said, man, I picked 3 to cover. And these are the ones that kind of fell to me. But at no say, I did. These some sorry ass stories. You got Jimmy Udoka up in there tearing it down. He getting lit, moving around, doing all kind of foul stuff. You got Arizona State's people running around out here. Listen, fam. I mean, y'all pick it to me. Put in the chat, which is the sadder of all these stories that we covered this morning. Is it the Jimmy Udoka situation with the Celtics? Is it the fact that Herm Edwards get fired because his staffers was leaking information to the opponents so he'll lose games? Man, bro, what? That is awful. That, and then fire him and say, well, DQ, he did lose such and such to the Michigan, whatever. Like, fam, the athletic department and some of his staff, his own coaching staff, were leaking his game plans to his rivals so he'd get fired. Man, that is so low. This is sorry ass shit. You know? T-Mama said all of it. I know, T-Mama, this is all sad. This is sorry asses. Then they fire the man on the field, get him up out of there, and then they gonna say that we're gonna go look for some more people. Who in their right mind will want to go and coach, be a head coach for Arizona State after this stuff worked? These people cutthroat out there. You need to fire all of them bastards, including the athletic director, and wipe them out. The college president need to fire the entire athletic department if this is what goes on here and you don't like nobody and you go to such elaborate lengths as taking their playbook and information about their play scheme and giving it to the opposition so they lose games. You sabotaged them. Man, I'll tell you, man. And then, of course, the final one was this one. This is probably one of the most sorriest ones I've heard, when you had the welfare for the well-connected. That shit's going to stick in my head for a while. That Brett Favre has possible ties to a $70 million Mississippi welfare scam and $70 million that's earmarked for poverty or poor people in the state of Mississippi to give to people that's having a hard time. And you got individuals that's attached to this stuff siphoning off the money to build a goddamn $5 million volleyball building. Are you kidding me? People need that money for food or housing or whatever. It's for the poverty people. It's for the poor. How do you siphon off money to build a volleyball building at Southern Miss? How does that even, where to use these people got to be Satanists, man. You have zero morals. You will do that and go take your stinking ass and go sit up somewhere and sleep happy at night, and you stealing money from the poor people and they need it? My goodness, man. I'm sorry, family, even breaking y'all up with this sorriness. But this all I got today. I'm sorry, baby. Baby, I'm sorry. My goodness. Boy, I have to take, I got to sit back on that one. I got to rear back on that one. Boy, that was that was a whole sack of sorriness, wasn't it? My goodness. Boy, that was terrible, man, to see all that. But anyway, let me get y'all thoughts on it, family. We got a few more minutes here. I won't go. Let me get y'all thoughts on what you thought about Jimmy and the rest of these. Feel free to chime in on any of this stuff in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about it. Boy, but that was three horrible sorry ass stories right there. And it was all different levels of sorry. You notice that? Each one of them had a special area of sorriness that I have to acknowledge. They were all sorry, but all in their own separate categories of sorry. You know what I'm saying? It's like levels of sorry. Jimmy Udoka, that's really sorry what you did, Playboy. You should be fired, man. If you good enough to be banned and you dealing and if it's sexual harassment, which is what it sounds like, but they're not using the words, you should be fired. You should be fired. Then you embarrass your fiance like that out there, man. Embarrass that woman, move out there and then embarrass her like that. Boy, I tell you, man. I tell you. And then the Herm Edwards thing, I can't even fathom that. You know, that's a whole special group. They might have to get the civil rights people to go look at what that sound real janky out there. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. The Herm Edwards situation sound real stink. Never before have I heard that, you know, his staff was working against him to get him fired. Now, that's real stink, you know. And of course, Brett Favre speaks for itself. All right, shout out to the fam, man. And yeah, OG says terrible. Yeah, OG, you in Gulfport. Yeah, that's right. I see you. OG, you got to be definitely pissed. The $70 million supposed to be going to the poor people, and they be ciphering off $5 million to build a volleyball building. Are you kidding me? A volleyball building? Come on, fam. All right, what's up, fam? Baddest Sports Show podcast in the Deep South. Much love, fam. Appreciate you. All right, thank you for your support, bro. Appreciate it. All right, I see Tara says all of it sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I woke y'all up with this sorry shit. But at least we kind of got some insight on it, though, you know, to kind of understand where this is coming from, man. So yeah, this is not good. I know Chance says real poo-poo. Yeah, that's pretty bad. All right, Tara says I believe in leadership, being a leadership, not perfect, but come on, man, for real. You the head coach of the team running around doing this kind of stuff. That can't fly. But really, outside of Jimmy Udoka, thank you, Brother Prime. He's saying they call themselves Christians beware. Yeah. And the crazy part about Jimmy Udoka, the Celtics been investigating this. Nia Long kind of dropped the information in her TMZ article. I covered it early in the show. She said they came out. She just found about it 2 days ago. Right. 2 days ago, according to the article when it was wrote, which was yesterday, I want to say it was. And when she found out about it, a couple of days ago, when she found out about it, then she started finding out more and heard that the investigation was going on for months, dating back prior to July, I think she was saying. So they've been new, but Celtics been had advanced knowledge. Now they won't kind of get ahead of this thing like they are doing what they're supposed to do. No, this is game. So all of the women that's upset about this, how they was trying to figure out which woman it was, and people were saying, like Stephen A. dumbass was saying, that, you know, why the lady ain't catch the blade like he caught the blade. He ain't catch no blade. He got suspended for 1 year without pay, more than likely. And he rich already, so that's not really punching him in his pockets. So he ain't really get no hit at all. He ain't get no hit. The hit would have came if he'd got fired, because if they're talking harassment, that's what it is. And they're not using that terminology. They're saying that unwanted advances. Now you interpret that how you see. But my thing is he ain't catch no blade. He just got put on the shelf for 1 season. This season that's coming. Now when this season is over, they're gonna roll that man back out there, and you're gonna see the greatest impersonation of Jimmy Swaggart you ever seen, with him crying, oh my goodness, I've been. Watch this. Hold on here. Let me pull that up. Y'all know y'all don't play with it. Watch this. Let me pull this up right quick. Let me give you a little taste of Jimmy Swaggart. This is 1 year from now, when Emi Udoka come back, this is what he gonna be doing. This is what Jimmy Udoka gonna be doing, fam. This is what he gonna be doing. Hold on here. Hold on. This is how it gonna go. I'm gonna bust it out and tell you straight up. This is how it's gonna sound. Listen. This is how it's gonna sound. Watch. Give me a second. Watch. Listen. Put one in the chat if y'all can hear.
Myself, as best as I know how, to those that I have wronged, that I have sinned against. First of all, my wife, Frances. God never gave a man a better helpmate and companion.
Now listen, if you remember the Jimmy Swaggart story, Jimmy Swaggart was on airline.
And as far as this gospel has been taken through the ether waves,
This is what Emmy Jimmy gonna do now.
To the great cities of the world.
He's studying this footage
and cover
right now.
this globe. It would never have been done were it not for her strength, her courage, her consecration to her Redeemer.
But nothing about what you doing.
Beautiful and lovely daughter-in-law Debbie.
This how it's gonna
Donnie
sound.
has stood with me.
He gonna just
Uphold the standard of righteousness. It's evangelist. And
this is what he gonna do. Then he gonna come with this. He leads you up to this, and then he gonna bust this.
the one whom I serve, and I love, and I worship. I bow at his feet, who has saved me and washed me and cleansed me. I have sinned against you, my Lord.
And then he started laying on the tears, and people start forgiving him. Just like that. That's when Emmy Jimmy Udoka gonna study that and come out. They're gonna be some tears, and people gonna say, "Oh, he just did wrong. We gonna forgive him," just like they did Jimmy Swaggart. And then Swaggart went right back to preaching, didn't he? How often you seen that? See, church people got to not let that go. We ain't gonna get on the church people. But church people like, you got to forgive. No. You can forgive, but don't forget. If a guy violate like that, he loses position. You coming up off there. You're going to be violating and still sitting up there. What's wrong with you? That's not accountable. But Emmy Jimmy Udoka is going to be the person he going to be studying Jimmy Swaggart's speech right here. And that's what it's going to sound like. You watch when the time comes. The only thing he's going to do is swatch the names out. You're going to put Neil on there as opposed to with the man, whoever the man wife was he just talked about. But I'm just keeping it real with you on this whole situation. That was terrible. Now, to get to the Celtics. Now, the Celtics, they were saying mad at the Celtics for the wrong reason. Emmy Jimmy Udoka should be fired. That's number one, in my estimation. He should be fired. He said, Q, what about the woman? That changes because if she says that she was doing unwanted advances, that changes everything. You know, now if he was having sex with the lady and then something else was going on, you know, that's something else going on. So that'll be coming out. But if there is a no fraternization policy at the job, which when you sign your agreement to go and work for somebody and there's no fraternization policy, which means that you can't date people from your job because you might have a situation like if you work somewhere and wherever you work at and there's a mix of women and a mix of men there. And then let's say a man tip on over there with the lady and they tip together and they married. And next thing you know, they doing all kind of stuff when they supposed to be at work. They calling off and they going to work with their uniforms on. You know how them people be doing. And then they disappear and they doing stuff. And then they bringing that up on the job and you have all that going on. Man, and what if the man find out, go down there and start handling up in the building, and then they get physical, and the next thing you know, the guy go to his trunk, pop in the trunk, you pop the trunk, everybody getting down. You see what I'm saying? All that happened. So just to cut all that out, to have that going on, there's a no fraternization policy, meaning you can't date that lady over there. You can't date her here. Why? Because you're like, well, how you can tell somebody they can't date nobody? Because that's what'll happen. Now, if you got people, and these people, both of them were married, whoever the lady was, I don't care who she was, it'll come out sooner or later. And she should have an issue too, if it's outside of the harassment sphere. You get what I'm saying? So the hell with all that, all the stuff that men just doing wrong. No, women do wrong too now. Women do wrong, men do wrong. Both people are equal here. Both people do wrong. Now, if that guy doing harassment thing, he should be fired, not shelled for a year. I say Emmy Jimmy Udoka should be fired because I'm pretty sure there's a no fraternization policy in the Boston Celtics organization because most of these teams have a no fraternization policy. Right when I can give you a clear example, we're dealing with the Pelicans where Byron Scott was over the team and then they drafted J.R. Smith. When J.R. Smith was here, J.R. Smith was messing around with Byron Scott's daughter and it caused a rift in the team to the point where Byron Scott left. Now that wasn't the only reason, but it was one of the reasons why they had trouble. So you can't have that. They have to have a policy in place because when stuff start happening, you violate, you do something wrong, and then it creates a rift in the workforce. That's not good. That destroys the morale. So instead of going through all that deciphering of who's right and wrong, let's just cut it down the middle and say, no, you can't do it. And if I find out you're doing, you fired. That's why they exist, because a lot of those rules that go at the job they was built on blood. A lot of them, like the railroad, they were built on blood. Like, you got a rule, don't do this, do that, because somebody got knocked off. And that's why they came up with the rule. So, I mean, if you hear, I'm serious, that's how a lot of those rules are written in blood, aren't they, family? So, you know, how many times you heard something like that going on because some dude found out about something and he felt played and went up there and took it to him. It can get real nasty now. So at some point, family, we got to understand that, man, and we got to get that. So the Celtics the Celtics should have fired that guy. That's number one. Number two is, after they did that, you know, that'll have fixed everything, because that'll let them know we're not playing. We fired the head coach and he just came off a special season with the Celtics. We fired him. We put him in the grass because of what happened there. Now, after that's done, let's have a new head coach. We start again. Culture saved. But the Celtics didn't do that. They pretending like they got the women back. They don't have your back, women. What you mean, Q? What you mean they don't have your back? They don't have your back because the guy's still employed by the team. He's just under a 1-year ban. And that means once the NBA season is over with, they're going to cycle him back. They're just counting on you to go on to something else, meaning that something else will grab your attention. Something else will upset you, and you'll forget about Jimmy Udoka and all his philanderings. So that's what they're doing. So the Celtics don't have women back. Let's get that straight. And all these big networks, they ain't going to call them out because they're in bed with them. The Celtics don't have women back because Jimmy Udoka should be gotten rid of. And then after the investigation, they said that the lady wasn't found wrong of any wrongdoing. And she might have been found of no wrongdoing because she probably told the investigators, and they found out that it was evidence saying, this is my speculation, that she was tied, that harassment, or not harassment, but they would say unwanted advances. That's why that lady wasn't disciplined. Then it was wrong to throw the ladies out as they try to figure out which lady was it. You see, then they try to figure out which lady it wasn't. And that's how the ladies' names got caught up in the sauce. You see? But the reality is that Jimmy should have been fired off the bat, straight up. And the Celtics don't have the women back because they only knocked them off for 1 year, and then they're going to cycle them back after the year over with. Watch, you're going to see. If they really had the women back, they would have fired that man, fired them and said, this will not be tolerated here. But they like playing games, man. The people love playing games. All right, so anyway, fam, listen, man, I appreciate y'all for being up in this thing, man. We keeping it real, $1.15, man. Let me tell you something, man. We keeping it real deal and $1.15 up in this joint. All I can tell you, family, is that we know that, you know, you just got to notice stuff like that from time to time and how the game play. And they're kind of reciprocal. All right, so anyway. All right, T-Rob says, who do you think going to win today, LSU Saints games? I got LSU to beat the New Mexico Lobos. And the Saints to beat the Carolina Panthers, bro. My score was originally, I think it was 24-17, I want to say. 24-17, my original score. It was 24-17 or 28-17. I forget, bro. I'm going to have to go back and look at the stream. All right, Chance says Brittany got 9 years for a vape pen and Favre still. Yeah, that's unfortunate with Brittany Griner thing. I heard that the president met with her significant other. I guess I don't know if she married or not. I don't know if that's a girlfriend. I don't know, man. But I know she met with Brittany's partner, or or whatever. And I don't know, man. All this time elapsing, and they said they could make a deal to get out of there, but I don't know. But this brings into mind, like, we got to be careful. Like, when we go to all these countries that don't have the same type of rule, we got to be careful, man, of what we're doing. Now, maybe that sister didn't realize what she was doing, and obviously she didn't, because if she did, she wouldn't have done wrong whatever she did, the vape thing over there. But obviously, they definitely using it because they at war, man. And I'd be leery to go. I'm a student enough to pay attention to the countries that right now, that we politically involved with. A lot of times the people don't have nothing to do with that, man. That just be these weird ass deals and these gutless politicians operating and running our people into these situations. And I'm not saying that's happened to her, but I'm saying in terms of, it's difficult, the diplomacy and the communication between countries that you're at war with. And whether that's directly or indirectly, because it's like a proxy situation where you're funding the people that's going at the company. You are in you. I mean, no matter how you slice it, you at will. And when that happens, the diplomacy is really sketchy. So it won't be done on a fair table. So they want this and they want that. And I don't know if these people are taken seriously enough. I mean, obviously they're not, because they could have been got the back if that was a priority. Because there are ways you could have got that lady back. I mean, it's just what it is. But you got to be cognizant of the economic, not the economics, but the social policies of the country's at war with. Because I never agreed to do that. I never agreed. Nobody asked me, hey, Q, we take your tax dollars, but you think we should go over that? No, I don't think you should do that. I think you should stop doing that. I don't think you should go over there. Leave them people alone, man. Leave them alone. We need to take care of what we got over here. We don't need to be going over there. Oh, well, never mind, Q. I'm sorry I asked you. I'm going to go anywhere. I said, well, goddamn, dude. Well, goddamn. You know, but like I said, you just got to be careful, man, because they got a lot of weird ass policies and stuff like that. And most of the times it'd be like they just be on some pettiness at times. You don't have to do that. That's over excessive. But, like I said, just have to be careful, man, with the stuff like that. It doesn't warrant no 9-year sentence, but that's the country's laws. And if that's what they got set up or however it goes, then you got to honor that if you go over there, so it's a shame, man, but that's for a pen, man, 9 years. And I know it's crazy to us in the US, but that's how them people rocking over there, man. That's why I wouldn't even, I wouldn't even recommend you go over there. Swag says black, she's in Russia, not the US. Yeah, I know that's the take. It's a different whole different situation totally. All right. So yeah, he says they're not cute. They're not looking at. No, it's not a big priority on their list, man. So they'll talk. You just gotta understand. It's like the crying preacher, man, I just played. These people don't have any morals. And the best way they do, I know one of the best things they do is they jerk at your heartstrings. They like doing that. They like having they don't have any morals. That's the bottom line, because nobody going to be stealing from poor people just to build a volleyball gym that costs $5 million. You know that volleyball gym. What the hell are they doing? They dipping it in gold? I mean, what volleyball gym costs $5 million? Just for a volleyball? Why would you even, that's not even, you can convert the basketball building if you need a volleyball gym. Just convert that and let them play volleyball in there. Why would they need a volleyball building? They didn't need it. That was just stealing. It don't cost no $5 million to build no building unless they gonna dip the some bitch in platinum. Come on. So I mean, yeah, but this it's like the crime minister I just played a moment ago. They jerk at your heartstrings. That's what they do. And until we start understanding that, man, this like that type of stuff gonna continue. It's crazy. Devin says Barnes, who's known for doing some crazy, wasn't defending Jimmy. You heard behind the scenes about the details, and obviously this was more of a consensual relationship. Yeah, it'll come out then. But then, of course, they said, oh, no, I'm warning advances. And when that happens, then you have to look at it and says, okay, was it one or the other? And Matt Barnes, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I kind of got mixed feelings on Matt Barnes from time to time. I don't know. All right. Shout out. All right. Yeah, I know it. Abandoned buildings in Mississippi. Yeah, Mississippi going a lot of places in Louisiana is like, kind of poor. But Mississippi, my goodness, when I was all up into money, that's where Emmett Till was killed in money. I was working for the railroad. I was up there, and I was in Money, Mississippi. And there's an area, the gas station, and a lot of family members that's from that area know what I'm talking about. I took pictures of it and everything. There's a plaque that's standing right there by that gas station. And this was the gas station where I think he went in, according to the plaque, and that's when all that stuff happened, was at that gas station. And they didn't, I looked it up, they had a house that was connected to the gas station was to the right, but the house, I think it burned down or something. But the gas station is still there. They made it like a historical situation, and you can actually go walk up to it. You can't go in it, but you can look through the window, and they got it all set up like it was back in the olden days. You know what I'm saying? You could peer through the window. And, when you go down south through Money and down the CN line, Then you get to, you can see off where the church was at, where he went to church at. You can see the mill where they took him and killed him at. And then behind there, there's the river. I forgot the name of the river where they dumped him at. So the reason I'm saying is like going up there and seeing all that is into the areas of like the rural areas of Mississippi. There's a lot of poverty. There's a lot of poor farmers that's up there. It's a lot of poverty, man. And that was like heartbreaking poverty, type of heartbreaking poverty. Then when I got into Jackson, I remember seeing I seen a street in Jackson, in the city of Jackson on south of the tracks, that almost made me cry. You know, it was awful, man. It was awful. Like, man, I thought I might have been in a evil sci-fi movie somewhere, man. You know, I might have been in Resident Evil somewhere. That's how that street looked. It looked like it wasn't nobody on the street. You know, people lived there. They had abandoned cars down there. Street was tore up. Somebody had a dog, and they had a tree, like a tree in the front yard, and like the tree was chopped off like toward the root area, and it stood maybe about 4 feet above the ground. And somebody took that tree, and they had a inside of the tree bark that opened up, and somebody used the tree as a dog house. So they had their dog inside of that tree. And I looked at that, I was like, wow, man, what's going on here? But man, I thought, man, let me get up out of here before some zombies start coming up out of here, walking and Thriller and shit. But man, let me tell you, it was heartbreaking poverty, man. I seen some stuff now, but in Mississippi in particular, I seen a lot of real hardcore poverty. And for them to be stealing that money, they've been stealing money from them people. They just got caught this one time. So, you know. Yeah, St. Doug say, I'm from Jackson. Bro, you know what I'm telling is the truth, bro. I mean, you won't talk about, I don't know how the politicians still or even much, how they ain't get locked up or the city didn't uprise and run them up out of there, man, because they ain't doing nothing for the people. I don't even know how they got the balls to make press conferences and stand and say, we doing all we can. I'm surprised, man. The people ain't just uprise and run them people out of there. I really don't. They not doing nothing for the people. I'm going to just keep it a buck. All right. Yeah, so anyway, fam, I'm gonna pop out on that. Much love to the fam. Listen, I appreciate y'all for joining me for this installment of TSC Unleashed. We covered some very interesting stories. We talked about the Udoka situation. We also talked about Herm Edwards' staff selling his, giving up his stuff to opponents so they can beat him and then fire him because he losing. You gonna talk about some dogs. And of course, the ridiculousness tied to Brett Favre and the $70 million welfare scheme that's happening, where they were siphoning off the $70 million. And of course, the governor of Mississippi said, I don't know nothing about that. I had no recollection of that. I'll tell you, man, it's amazing. Anyway, I'm going to holler at y'all later, man. I'll see y'all today. TSC Unleashed, please, if you want to, do me a service. There's a link pinned into the chat. If you like the content that we're doing with TSC Unleashed, feel free to join the TSC Unleashed channel. Now, listen, family, I'm going to start doing full-time content on that channel, the TSC Unleashed channel. But I'm motivated by if we can get the subscribership up. So if you can help me get the subscribership up at TSC Unleashed, then we'll start doing more of these type of programs over there, and we'll have it set up like that. So with that being said, listen, man, I appreciate y'all. Hit the link and go over there and subscribe to TSC Unleashed. My live peoples right now on replay. When you watch this, hit the link and go over there to TSC Unleashed channel and hit the subscribe button. And I promise y'all guys, we'll be cranking them out and covering the latest sports topics every Saturday morning. I'll be waking you up, and I promise I try to keep it as balanced as I can today. These were some of the stories that really crazy stories that we came across this past week that we gonna cover on TSC. So with that being said, man, thank you, Chan. Shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all. David says, all right, black folk make poor decisions to right mash. Okay, thank you, brother. The Baddest Sports Show podcast in the Deep South. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you showing some support. KB, thank you, fam. Brother Prime, appreciate you. Brother Jerry, I see you. KP said, don't go yet, pick you. I got y'all, KB, baby. Queen, listen. People got to finish cutting their grass. They got chicken they baking right now. It's sad, somebody making red beans somewhere. That's going down. Matter of fact, I think I might have to be making some red beans. While I'm throwing it out there, I think I might have to be doing that. So anyway, yeah, they got a lot of stuff going on today. People got to cut the grass. They got people got to go to the barber shop today, get haircuts. I mean, it's something. The ladies got to go to the salon and get it. It's, you know what I'm saying? They got to run to the store, make groceries. Somebody got to wash the car. You get what I'm saying? Somebody got some clothes they got to fold somewhere. You dig? So, I mean, people got some chores to do. You can't do all that during the week because you're working. You dig? So anyway, I'm thinking I'm just doing this just for the people that got work they got to do early in the day. That's right, Brother Jerry. Don't burn the beans, brother. Don't burn the beans. Whatever you do not burn the beans. All right, fam. So with that being said, man, listen, y'all keep your heads up. Have a beautiful, great Saturday. And later on, we'll be back with the LSU stream on Tough Tiger Talk. Shout out to the family members at Tough Tiger Talk that's supporting that stream. We'll be back with the LSU matchup against the New Mexico, the Lobos. That'll be today. And then later on Ring Kings Boxing, we'll have we'll talk about some boxing stuff. Of course, the heavyweight division, 2 really good heavyweights will be fighting tonight. Shakur Stevens won his match Friday night over Kansei Sayal. It was a good fight that went 12 rounds and was unanimous decision to Shakur Stevens, who's going to move up in the ranks. We'll talk about that on Ring Kings Boxing tonight as well. So with that being said, I'm going to chop out on that. I appreciate y'all, and I'm holler at y'all later. Peace.